And I want to know, so first of all, if you're watching the replay, I'm a replay queen. I love watching replays. I love the idea of joining things live, but with young children, it's just hard. It just is, because they're always interrupting and I want to be able to be fully immersed in the thing. So I usually wait until it's a better time for me to catch the replay, and then I can also pause it if I get interrupted. So I just want you to know, if you're watching a replay, I am holding all the space in the world for you right now. I feel you, I get you, I am you. So if you're watching the replay, I want you to interact as if you're joining me live right now. Okay, comment whenever something comes up for you. You don't have to wait till the end of the video. Comment, like, love, take notes, especially today. I feel like you're going to want to take notes. So yeah, my first question is, who was here last year for this event? I can't believe it's been a whole year. I kind of wish I had not waited a whole year, but also it's kind of cool that we waited a whole year. Okay, I'm still good on Facebook. So let me know if you were here last year and what your favorite day was. So today we've got healing and activating the healing of your mental self. Tomorrow we've got the activation for your spiritual or energetic self. And then on Wednesday, we have activating your physical health. I had to get that order right. Did you miss this last year, Sheena? That's crazy to me. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here for it this year. Hi, Bree. We have Bree joining us. Hi, I'm so happy you're here. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so good. It is so good. Here we go. Okay, so Bree, were you here last year for this event? I can't remember if you joined this one last year. If not, I'm so excited. You were, okay. Do you remember which day was your favorite? I'm just curious. They're all my favorite, but because today's the mental healing, tomorrow's spiritual healing, and then Wednesday is physical healing. And it's okay if you don't really remember too. Probably when I got into the Chiron thing. Ooh, okay, so that was day 2. Yes. Okay. Oh, I love that one so much. Oh, so freaking good. Okay. So today we're doing healing the mental self. So I have notes so that I don't get too rabbit hole-y, because if I can and I will go for 3 hours. So we don't have 3 hours. That's fine. So if you don't already know me, hi, I'm Megan. I'm Megan Stoddard. Feel free to go find me on Instagram. That's my favorite place to hang out other than the Facebook group, which I am resurfacing. What am I trying to say? I'm bringing back to life, essentially. But yeah, take a screenshot, take a picture, because I know for me, when I am like sharing the things, and it just, let me put this disclaimer, if it feels good, tag this on your Instagram stories and share this on your Instagram stories and tag me, because then I can shout you out and celebrate you and what you're doing, and you can help solidify what it is you are experiencing here as well. So you can feel free to do that. And then I want you to like put social media away and be here. Just be here. In fact, I'm gonna do a little bit of smudging, and I encourage you to do the same. You can either just enjoy what I have here, or if you have your own sage, your own Palo Santo, you've got essential oils, you've got crystals, anything, you know, you've got your favorite pen, you've got a candle that you love, whatever you've got that feels really good to you today. I really want to encourage you to utilize that to really help ground you where you are, help you become very intentional with your experience today. Okay. All right. So you probably, I mean, if you're here, you will probably relate to all this, and feel free again to comment anything that resonates for you. Okay. Hi, Courtney.
Hello.
Just got started again, so we are all set.
Okay. And you're recording, I see. Or
yes.
not yet.
I so appreciate you.
I remember last time you were like, oh, I shared. I'm like, this is why I always remind people, because I want to hear it again too.
Right? I know. You had a very important role here today, and I'm so grateful for you.
All right.
So let's see. Okay, so I'm just reading the comments. So Bree said, I have to smudge when G isn't here. He's super sensitive and will puke. You like him, so you're nice. You're so nice, Bree. You're so nice. I know I have to be kind of careful because this is still currently my office, but it's also my baby boy's room. So I have to make sure I get all but it's all good. So this event, this experience is for you if you're if you're seeking to heal from that chronic stress, from burnout, people pleasing, mom guilt. And I put the mom guilt in quotes because I tend to attract moms into my sphere. And sometimes that's moms of humans, moms of animals, moms of like nieces and nephews, you know. Most of the time, the women that I bring into my sphere have a mom role of some kind. So anyways, mom guilt, whatever that looks like in your context, right? Or perfectionism. So raise a hand in the comments, raise a hand if you relate to any of that. Are you dealing with stress, chronic stress, or burnout, or people pleasing, any of that? This is for you. And then it's also for you if you're ready for all of the opposites, right? If you're ready to just enjoy life without those things, right? So when you don't have that stress, when you don't have that burnout, what's there instead, right? You've got peace, you have joy. I asked you guys this in the Facebook group just like a week ago, right? Safety, safeness. I kind of like the word safe. I'll get into that later. Anyways, calm, fulfillment, without having to change anything about your circumstances. Because sometimes we put that prerequisite, right? Nina says all of the above. Yes. Hi, Cindy. Nothing in your life has to change for you to shift from this to this. Nothing on the outside has to change. So there's good news number one. Okay, go clean it up. Okay, I can help you when I'm done here, sweet girl. Okay. Yep. Do you want to come hang out here? I know, I can help you a little bit. I will have kids here. What? They won't get on it that fast. You'll be okay, I promise. Here, I've got some more of this right here, okay? It'll help you calm down. Just take a breath, okay? We stayed it earlier today and she felt really good about that. Let's see, mom guilt. Okay, so mom guilt, which Bree says she's experiencing more than usual lately, which pregnancy will do that to you. So mom guilt is like the classic mom guilt is like, I could be feeling really guilty right now for doing this instead of going and helping her clean up the mess that she just asked me to help her with, right? Like doing something for me versus doing something for my kids, like prioritizing myself first versus taking care of my kids immediately. Like that's a very common source of mom guilt, right? So a lot of moms won't eat for half the day because they're so busy taking care of their kids because they would feel bad taking 5 seconds to make themselves a healthy meal, right? And that's just like one broad overarching example. So you're dealing with the chronic stress and burnout. Yes. And some of that will come into play some more tomorrow as well, which Cordelia, you were here last year. So if you remember much about all that human design stuff, because you've already gotten into it a bit, you're going to be able to go even deeper, which is, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited. And then this last thing here, just knowing that you've got, you have stuff, you have ish, just underneath the surface. Even if you're not sure what it is exactly, you just want that gunk out. You want to be free of that. You know that you have more in you that you want to tap into that feels better than what you're currently accessing. That's what this has been. This whole 3-day event is going to help you with all of that, okay? All right, so this is a free event. It's free, but it's also not free because your time is valuable. Your energy is deeply valuable. I value those things so deeply for you. So you're here, so invest it fully. Be here fully so that you can take the things that you're learning and deeply implement it into your own personal healing process. Okay, I need you to go over there. So just like all of this says here, if you're serious about this, which if you're here, you are serious about it. I know this. Be here. Make sure that you set this time aside, whether you're watching the replay or if you're here live, set this time aside to be for you and just for you. And any other positive impact it has outside of you is just a beautiful bonus. Okay. Come on, computer. Here we go. So once again, just commit. And a commitment, honestly, comes from two places. First of all, feeling into your energy. I'm not going to get much into human design today, but if you're familiar with your human design, your heart center is where commitment needs to feel good. So in your heart center, if it feels really good for you to commit to this thing, whether it's open or defined, then commit. And if you're going to commit, all it is a decision. You just need to decide that that's what you're going to do. It sounds super simple because it is super simple, okay? Yep, don't do that. That breaks it. Can you go check on Emma for me? All right, so read through these. Let me know which ones, if any, or all of them resonate with you, okay? Number one, you've heard that meditation, journaling, subconscious work, therapy, all those things. Those are the tricks, the keys, the secrets to growth and healing. Okay, thank you. Number two, maybe that doesn't work for you, right? So you've done, you've listened to the podcast, you've read the books, you've done the journaling, you've done these things that people say are what's supposed to work, but you're still finding yourself struggling with stress, struggling with that burnout, struggling with the people-pleasing tendencies, right? You're still struggling even though you've done the things. Maybe you've signed up for the free resources, right? Or you've paid for a coach and it helped, but it still wasn't it for you, right? So let me know if those resonate with you. And then this is just a beautiful permission slip or just validation for you, okay? If you've already been going through your own personal inner healing process and you've still felt disempowered in many aspects of your life, right? So you've felt really good. You felt like you've done the work, you've done the healing, you've experienced the healing and felt so good. But then you still feel like you're tied down by your shadows. You're still stressed. You're still going back to those old patterns. Nothing has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. You're not wrong for still experiencing that stress. You're not wrong for still finding yourself back in burnout. Okay, maybe you're thinking that, oh, I just need to do something different. I just need to work harder. I just need to dig deeper into my shadows so that I can do more of that inner work. No, nope. You do not need to work harder. It does not need to be more work. All you need to do, right, Bree? Such fabulous news. Such good news. Because that's what I thought. I thought, oh, I just need to work harder. I just need to do more of this. I need to do more. That's so much in the masculine. And masculine energy can be beautiful. It can be very healing. It can be very potent. But when we're too ingrained into that masculine energy, too much of the doing, we find ourselves deeper in stress and deeper in burnout. So instead, we're going to back off of all of that doing and just let it be easier by integrating your physical self, your mental self, and your spiritual self, right? So just be involved, be immersed in this short 3-day experience, and you'll get to see how easy it gets to be for you, okay? So again, I think everyone here so far knows who I am, but for anyone watching the replay who might be new, I'm Megan. Hi, nice to meet you. I started off all of this as a health coach back in 2014. I actually got my degree in dance in 2012 is when I graduated. It's been a minute. So that's actually when it started, was when I was in college. And then I became a health coach in 2014, became a life coach in 2019. And oh man, since then have integrated my dance experience, my life coaching experience, my health coaching experience to create the integration by design method, which I'll talk about later today. I'm also a mom of 3 cute little humans. This one I have a feeling is going to be joining us every day this week. Her big sister is in school. Her baby brother is sleeping right now. She is my beautiful little middle child. I am also a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and I have experienced a massively wide variety of healing modalities, both as a practitioner, and as a student, as a client, right? That's Clara. Hey, can you go get, why don't you go get your tablet? Okay. Then go check on him for me, please. Go check on him for me. Middle kiddos, yes. Yes, they're so sweet. They have so much energy. Shh. Okay, if you want to be in here, I need you to go sit on your chair. If you want, you can go get your rocking chair and bring it in. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. So, and as I said, former professional dancer. So I got my degree in dance, and I also performed and choreographed with a professional dance company for a few years. I'm a master NLP practitioner, master life coach, human design expert. I'm not going to get into all my certifications. I just have a lot of experience in different modalities and different kinds of coaching. So once again, this can be as easy or as hard as you choose for it to be. Because like I said, I didn't know any inner healing modalities in the beginning. When I started off as a health coach, I had no idea. I knew that there was more than just the physical health. I didn't know any of that. I didn't have any magical secrets handed down to me. My problems have never been magically wiped away. Happened through a lot of trial and error, learning from so many mistakes. And because of all the things that I've experienced and learned, that's why I put this together, to make it so much easier for you. So, day 1, who's ready? Shall we just dive on in? Who has their somatics? Yes, I will get into that. That's with the physical self. So we'll get into that on day 3. Yes. So make sure you've got something to take notes with, because this is a very informative kind of day today. Who is familiar with Hakalau? Let me know if you've heard of that term. I love Hakalau. Yes, Sheena, you definitely know Hakalau. Bree remembers this. Yes. It's so simple. And I remember this was one of the first things that I learned when I became a life coach. And that was when my husband was going through physical therapy school. And when I taught him that, I just told him about it. And he started using it for while he was in class, while he was taking his tests, while he was studying, and his grades just like skyrocketed from this one simple thing here. So Hakalau, honey, no, don't play with my hair, please. Why don't you go get Clara's doll with the hair? I think it's out in the living room. Okay, then just don't play with my hair, please. State of pure awareness, right? It's a state without those challenging emotions. There's just literally no room for challenging emotions or distractions when you're in the state, which is why, let me know if you do this, because if you're crying and you don't want to be crying and you kind of like look up and blink really fast, this is why. Because you can't access those same emotions. It helps get you out of that state that is causing you to cry. Because Hakalau, when you lift up your eyes in that way, so Hakalau, I should tell you, it's lifting your eyes up. It's kind of like you're accessing your third eye, right? You're looking up about 45 degrees with your eyes either open or closed. Either way works great. And it gets you just, in fact, I want you all to do this right now while I'm speaking. So you can have your, again, eyes open or closed. Just lift up your gaze to about 45 degrees. And just stay there until you'll start to just notice that you kind of, your awareness just kind of increases around you, while also remaining focused on what it is you desire to be focused on. So it's greater focus with enhanced awareness. Okay, let me talk to my daughter real quick. All right, we are all good. Boundaries have been set. So, pure awareness. No challenging emotions. And you will notice, I don't ever talk about negative emotions. I do not believe that there is a single emotion that is negative. There's no such thing. We were gifted the ability to experience the entire spectrum of human emotion for a purpose. And part of that purpose is to be able to learn from those emotions. There are some that are less pleasant and uncomfortable and challenging, that are lower on the vibrational scale. And then there are ones that are higher on the vibrational scale that feel awesome, that are just juicy and enjoyable and pleasurable, right? So there's a whole scale of emotions. Some are just more challenging than others. None of them are bad or wrong, ever. So Hakalau is just going to allow us to focus on what we want to focus on, while also having that awareness around us, because that helps us become grounded in where we are, because we're aware of what's around us. Let me know if that makes sense. Courtney asks, is crying bad, like when people try to stop themselves from crying? No, crying is not bad. Absolutely not. It just, like, your subconscious knows. So if you're, like, for me, I still struggle to cry in front of people. That's just some of my own conditioning that I struggle with, right? So if I start to cry and I'm like around other people and I don't want to cry in front of other people, I look up and I start blinking a lot. No, crying is awesome. Crying is great. In fact, fun story, I used to be known as a dry well back in the day, like back in my college days. Even if I wanted to, I just could not cry. And I had no idea why. Turns out, hashtag trauma. And then there was a time right after we had graduated college, me and my besties, we were out in San Francisco. We got mugged, more trauma. And after we got away from that, I started sobbing, and we had all kind of been in shock. And after I started sobbing, they were like, this is serious. Oh crap, what just happened? Like that was the indicator, like, oh, Megan's crying. This is a big deal. So mama's come a long way. I cry a lot now. I'm working now on crying in front of people. But that was a great question. Thank you for asking that. So the point of knowing this is that it's a very simple tool to be able to access that awareness, right? And when you get into that state of awareness, it helps you zoom out. And you might hear me talking about zooming out quite a bit, in whether you work with me or whether you just stay, in my free sphere. I talk about zooming out a lot. It's a beautiful tool because sometimes when you get really zoomed in on a situation, all you see is the stress, right? You only see this one aspect of whatever circumstance it is that you're experiencing in the moment. So when you can zoom out, it helps you see the bigger picture. And then you can choose what state you want to move forward with, right? So if you're in stress mode and you're totally zoomed in, like you've got these blinders on and you're in stress mode because you're only looking at the same thing and you're ruminating on the same thought over and over again. When you put yourself in Hakulau, that allows you to zoom out, see the bigger picture, take a breath, get grounded, and then take intentional action moving forward. So we love Hakulau here. All right, so healing. We're here to heal our mental self, right? When we heal at the conscious level, which is what most people do, and it's great, it just requires major effort, constant awareness, and it tends to take a lot of energy. More energy, at least, than healing at the subconscious level. Now, both absolutely have a purpose. I still utilize both healing at the conscious and the subconscious level. Absolutely. One is definitely not better or more superior than the other. It just depends on which one feels more correct in the moment, right? When we heal at the subconscious level, very little exertion, major ease, major efficiency. We love the subconscious. We love the subconscious mind. She is beautiful. She is not as mysterious as we think she is, right? Because I don't know about you, but until I started learning about all this stuff, I thought the subconscious was like woo-woo, weird. I was like, I don't know. That's not even a real thing, is it? Oh, it's very real, and it is awesome. So knowing the difference between the conscious and the subconscious, even that information alone is very, very powerful, very helpful, very healing. So as long as you clean up your mess. We have endless thoughts and memories, right? And there used to be this like piece of information going around where it would say that we only use like 5% of our brain. That's not actually true. It's just that a lot of the functionality of our brain is at the subconscious level, right? So we have all these thoughts and memories, and they're stored like in filing cabinets. And here's the other thing. All those thoughts and memories, it's not just your thoughts and memories. It's also generational thoughts and memories. That's why generational trauma is a thing. That's why sometimes you might get deja vu or remember something that's not actually your memory. I remember telling my mom that. Courtney's like, yes. It all makes sense. Yes, right? Isn't that wild? It's an actual thing, and it lives in the body, which we will talk about on day 3. But all of these things are passed down through generations, which is why I know that there's some conditioning that I get through my dad's mom's side of the family from the Depression, like very specific conditioning that came down through there, that when we heal that, not only does that heal that for us, it heals it for the entire generational timeline. Heals it for generations past, heals it for anyone coming forward. From this one little piece that we heal. How amazing is that? So the subconscious mind stores everything like in filing cabinets, right? So we have filing cabinets, we have little folders, and it stores all of that in the body, the physical body, which is why integrating the mental, the physical, and the spiritual all together is so powerful and gets to make it so much easier, because you can start at the physical, or you can start at the mental, or you can start at the spiritual. It doesn't matter where you start, because it's like when a rising tide lifts all boats. So today we're starting with our mental healing. We're learning about the subconscious. And as we activate that mental healing, it's also raising up our spiritual and our physical healing simultaneously. Do you see how simple and easy it gets to be? Oh, so good. So again, we'll get more into that on day 3, but just know we like to work with both the conscious and the subconscious. They both serve a purpose. Okay. And this is so fun. Okay. So in the subconscious mind, there's a bunch of, oh, I can't even think of the word. Sheena, if you can think of the word, let me know. But like, there's these laws. Essentially, there's these like rules that we know that the subconscious mind lives off of, essentially. And this is one of my favorites. So I just want to teach you about this one really briefly, called the law of requisite variety, which is really fancy word that basically just means that the being with the most flexibility controls the system. This is something that I've used a lot in parenting that has been super helpful. If I can let go of my need for control and I can be the one with more flexibility, I'm going to make sure that I control the situation a little bit more by letting go of my need for control. Sounds backwards, I know, but when you have more flexibility, it gives you more room to receive what you desire. Let me know if that makes sense. We can think about it this way. So if we think about it with the physical body, right? Flexibility training is massively important for injury prevention. Because if you have really stiff, like if you're really, really tight and your wrist bends like this, it's going to break. But if you're strong and mobile, if you've got lots of flexibility, look at all of this range of motion that my wrists have without breaking. They have more room to move and experience what they were here to experience, right? So the thing about mental flexibility as preventing mental injuries. Yeah. So a good question to ask yourself in any situation that feels challenging or frustrating or anything like that, ask yourself this question. Is my energy meant to maintain rigidity over this? Sometimes the answer will be yes. Sometimes you're going to have really strong boundaries that you have to maintain specifically like this. But I'm going to wager a bet that most of the time you have a lot more wiggle room than you think you do. You have a lot more flexibility, and all you have to do is get curious and creative about how you get to be flexible. And start playing with that, because that, oh man, when I started implementing that into my parenting, life is so much better in this household now. Not to say I'm a perfect mom, because I still have lots of room to grow. But like a few years ago, I would have been so mad about having her in the room with me while trying to do a call. Like, no way, you can't be in here, I'm having a call. And we would have had a whole full-blown fight about this. Look at, we're just fine. I can let her be in here and still maintain some boundaries. So how does this law exist and not being a pushover? So we still get to have boundaries. And that is actually an integral piece of my integration by design method, which I can talk about later if you guys want to hear more about that. But part of that comes from knowing your human design strategy and authority, because when you know what feels correct for you, then you know how much wiggle room you have and how much you need to maintain. Yeah. So like if you have certain boundaries that you need to set, you get to decide how much, like, so if this is the boundary you need to set, you get to decide how much wiggle room you have. Right? Good girl. Thank you. It didn't even hurt. Good job. Okay, so does that help, Courtney? Okay, cool. Awesome. So I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, and this was a note. Oh, let me say this. I wrote this down. This is really good. Because the subconscious mind uses the body as the storage facility, right, with those filing cabinets. That's why it's so vital that we take action on the physical plane in order to experience mental healing. Do you see how they all affect each other? All the parts affect the whole, right? So these are just a few ways that we can access the subconscious mind through physical action, right? Meditation, journaling, meditative journaling, which is one of my favorite things, subconscious reprogramming, which there's lots of different modalities to experience subconscious reprogramming, hypnotherapy, intentionally shifting that self-talk, which is more than just affirmation. Affirmations is just like it's not the full picture of how you can do that in a way that's really profound and powerful, okay? All these things happen on the physical plane, and they access the subconscious mind to experience that mental healing, okay? So remember, later today, I'm going to be sending you a bonus little goodie. I'm going to send you a free healing hypnotherapy audio, okay? So before, and this is just for anyone who has registered using their email. If you guys are watching this on Facebook and you haven't signed up using your email, you're not going to get it. So you can still go register if you want to get access to the hypnotherapy. So before I move on, knowing that you're going to be receiving a hypnotherapy, does anyone have questions about hypnotherapy in general? Okay, I mean, I also have a podcast episode about it that I can refer people to if you have any questions about that. It's not as woo-woo and weird as you might think. So I'll just put that little disclaimer there. If anyone's watching the replay and has questions, drop them. I'll be in the comments as well to help out. Okay, let's talk about the difference between association and dissociation, because both are very important and integral to your healing. So Bree asks, if I'm already on your email list, that's not specific to this event, right? I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to go ahead and wait. No, you didn't register for this event, did you? I'm going to go ahead and send it out to the whole email list, Bree. So you should be good. I'll let you know if I change my mind, but you should be all set, Bree. Because you've been getting these emails, right? Yes. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be on this call. Hey, can you go check on Anna for me? I think I just heard him. Can you go check on him? Baby boy might need to come join us. So association. Association is when you're visualizing, right? So like,
He's awake.
He's awake. Okay, I'll go get him in just a second. So when you're visualizing something, so oftentimes this is how people will tell you to do like manifestation visualization, which is not always correct for everyone, but I'll get into that later. So when you're visualizing or experiencing a memory or a desired state through your own eyes, so like in first person, okay? This can be very useful for when you want to feel more connected or one with a really nice experience, or, you know, right, whether that's a memory that you're sure, or, you know, if you're trying to access a desired state. So like if you're in a state of stress, but you would rather feel a state of peace, being associated to those feelings can be really powerful. Which one do you want? Okay, just make sure you put the lid back on when you're done and be very gentle with it, okay? So association. Anytime you're thinking of, like, you know, you close your eyes and you're imagining a situation or imagining yourself in a certain state or a certain circumstance, and you're seeing that through your own eyes, right? So that makes sense, right? And then dissociation is essentially the opposite. So when you're visualizing, remembering, you know, trying to bring up, access a desired state, you're experiencing all of that from a third person perspective. So it's like you're watching yourself experience it. You can see yourself like you're on a TV screen or something, right? And this can be very helpful to become free from past pains. It can be very helpful when you're healing trauma. It can be helpful to dissociate from a current stressful situation, or when there is a future goal toward which you want to be motivated. This is one that was hugely powerful for me. And with all of these, knowing when to utilize association versus dissociation also is going to depend on your human design. So for now, just know to utilize whichever one feels the best, whichever one feels correct for you in the moment. Okay, that's going to be all I'm going to share about that for now. But like for me, I am a non-specific manifester. If you know what you are in your human design, you can share. It's the bottom right arrow in your human design. If you want to look at that, if it's pointing to the right, you're non-specific. If it points to the left, you're specific. So there's that. If you're a non-specific manifester, you generally want to be dissociated when you're visualizing manifestation. Okay, so Sheena's non-specific and Bree is specific. Yes, so Bree, you're generally going to want to associate when you're visualizing, right? You want to be very associated, very specific with what it is that you're, like, you want to be in it, right? And very in it with the details, right? Yeah. And then with the non-specific, you can be kind of in it, you can be further away from it. When you're non-specific, you just want to be really vague and general about the details of what you desire, but you want to be associated with the state, with the feelings. So do you see how there's a little bit of play there? Okay, just make sure you put the list back on. Can you go see if Ammon's still awake? He might have fallen back asleep. Right, and so then with a goal, and then, okay, so this is a little bit different. My bad. But that's still, what I said still stands. Okay, thank you. This is something a little bit different than what I was just talking about, this is so cool too. I remember when I learned about this blew my mind. So when there's a goal that you're trying to reach, so think of a goal, something in your future that you're desiring. Instead of being in it right now, like closing your eyes and acting as if, like seeing it through your eyes right now, instead of being associated to that goal, remove yourself from the picture so that you have something to move towards. Because if you are associated to that goal, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's going on in your thoughts and reality. That is why our thoughts create our reality. So if your brain thinks that you've already accomplished that thing, it's not going to be quite as motivated to do the work to make that thing happen. Whereas if you remove yourself from that picture a little bit and see yourself in the future doing that thing, your subconscious mind is going to help you take the steps to get there, because it wants to become in that, it wants to be in that picture. Let me know if that makes sense. Bree says, associate with the feeling of it, but dissociate from the specifics of what you're desiring if you're non-specific. Yes, yep, absolutely. So if you're a non-specific manifestor, you want to associate with the feeling and dissociate. You don't need to associate with the specifics. Like when I think about my dream house, I kind of want to vomit sometimes when people ask me what color I want my door to be, or what kind of trim I want, or like, I don't know. I just want it to be spacious and light and airy. That's all I need. I don't want to think about what color the doorknobs are going to be. My sister-in-laws were asking me about that last year, and I was like, I don't know. I'll figure that out when I get there. So the difference between association and dissociation. Are there any questions here? I think we're pretty clear. Cool. And again, there are never any, I will say this until I am blue in the face, there are never any rules that strictly apply to anyone. There's no such thing as a one size fits all ever. Okay. So when you should use association versus dissociation is going to depend on what feels correct and aligned for you in any given moment. And it might change here and there. You know, even your own rules can change. Is dissociation only okay during hypnotherapy? Like, I'm trying to think of your question. So you're asking if during hypnotherapy you should only be dissociated? Is that what you're asking?
Oh, sorry.
No,
sorry. Like sometimes, like if someone dissociate and they're worried about them, they like put them in the psychiatric, for a stay. Like, so is dissociation only healthy or helpful during an activity like this, or if you dissociate a lot and get, do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna mute.
You're good. No, thank you for clarifying. So not necessarily, because once again, there's no hard and fast rules. If you find yourself, because that's a common trauma response, right? Is constant dissociation. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, because that dissociation has been protecting that person from certain memories, from certain, right? It's been a protective measure. What we want to do is just start to becoming aware. So if someone notices, hey, you dissociate a lot, are you okay? Do you need to go to therapy? Can I get you some help? Because so do you see, dissociation can be very helpful, because then it can indicate to us, oh, something's going on. Let's get curious about this. It doesn't mean they're wrong for being in dissociation. It just means, hey, this is indicative of something. Let's explore it. Let's see what that means. Let's see what we can do with that moving forward, and see if you want to continue to remain in that pattern, or if we're ready to move beyond it. Does that make sense? Cool. That was a good question. Thank you for asking that. All righty. Where are we? Okay. Oh, a couple other things too that I want to say. So one thing, association is really helpful for when we want to associate with our desired state, right? So if we want to be feeling peace, if we want to be feeling joy or satisfaction, that is a really good thing to want to associate with, because then we're in it right now, right? We don't need to do anything different in order to access those states of being. And then you want to generally dissociate from those low vibrational frequencies, right? Like fear, trauma, anger, because when we dissociate, that helps us zoom out, right? So that we can see, okay, what's going on? I don't want to feel angry right now. So I'm going to dissociate, go into that hakalau, zoom out, and we can see, okay, why did I shift into that frequency, right? We can just it allows us to get curious and see what's going on. And then we can actually do something about it. So again, we're not wrong for feeling anger. We're not wrong for feeling fearful. But when we zoom out and dissociate from those feelings, it helps us see what's going on. It just gives us more clarity and more room to learn and move into what we do desire, right? So again, use dissociation and association as it feels aligned in your body. Don't let anyone tell you that you have to do something if it doesn't feel right for you. Okay. Brie, I am loving your little baby belly. That just makes me so happy. Thank you, Courtney. Courtney says, I love how you're reframing dissociation. Yeah, because a lot of times you hear in like the trauma world that dissociation is bad. It's just purely bad, but it's not. It's not. Yeah, it's just indicative. That's all. It's information. Okay, let's talk about the pause process. If you have ever been a client of mine, you have heard me talk about this. It's a really powerful process that, I mean, I've seen other people using this, like similar processes. So maybe you've heard something similar. This is the way that I like to talk about it. So we're going to talk about this. Bree says she's being such a crowder right now. I'm asking nicely for her to give me some breathing space. I get that. I get that. I have like no torso. So when I'm pregnant, I just don't breathe for so long. Sending you all the oxygenation vibes. All right. So the pause process is a 4-step process. And again, I go into this more deeply with my clients, but I'm just going to give you the quick version so that you can use it to the best of your abilities. So we pause, we experience, we learn, and we thank. All right, so pause. Anytime you notice a challenging or uncomfortable emotion showing up for you, all you have to do is just stop whatever you're doing for just a few minutes. Pause, literally just pause. Now, a couple things about this. First of all, emotions are very patient, but we usually use that to our detriment rather than to our benefit. And what I mean by that is like, so if you're like out and about and you like maybe you're triggered, or you suddenly get really anxious, or you just get really mad all of a sudden, or you get really stressed, or like, you feel like you're going to cry. Like, you're like, I'm out in public right now. I'm like in the bread aisle at Walmart. I don't have time to deal with this right now. So I'm going to shove those feelings down. And they will be shoved down, but not for forever. So either you just keep shoving them down and not having a plan to address them, and eventually they will explode in one form or another. Or if you're out and about and you don't have time to go through this process right now, you're like, I'm in the middle of kindergarten pickup, I can't have a meltdown right now, then you just intentionally tell that feeling, whatever it is, right? So like if you're suddenly having anxiety coming up, you say, all right, I see you, I feel you, you're there. I don't have the capacity to address you quite yet. Give me 15 minutes to pick up my child and get home, and then we're going to address this. So use that patience to your benefit. Yeah. And it only needs to take, I mean, honestly, it can take as little as 30 seconds to go through this process once you're really practiced at it. Because again, this allows us to access the subconscious mind. Okay. So step number 2, table the emotion. Yep. Table it in a way that works for you instead of against you. Absolutely. So once you have gotten to a place, and I always tell my clients, like, have a pause place, have a place in your home that feels really safe, that feels really grounding and comfortable for you. Like for me, where we lived in Missouri, it was on my floor next to my side of the bed. Here, it's in my bathroom. So just find a place that you feel drawn to process these emotions. It doesn't have to be a pretty place, right? Like just wherever feels good for you. Maybe it's on your front lawn, right? Wherever. You're going to pause, you're going to go to your pause place, and you're going to allow yourself to experience it. Because again, generally speaking, you're going to go through this process when you're feeling uncomfortable emotions, because we're usually pretty good at allowing ourselves experience the good, the good pleasurable emotions. Although that is something we can talk about in a minute as well. That's beautiful, honey. That's just fine. You're doing great. Now that we know that we don't have negative emotions, we can also know that it is completely and totally safe to experience those uncomfortable emotions. It is safe. Bree says, I've done this with our ocean front here. Legit walked down and then sat and cried and processed there. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that so much, Bree. Oh, I love that. So again, emotions are just energy. It's literally just energy. And it cannot hurt you to experience it. You are completely safe to experience it. It can become more harmful to not let yourself experience it, because if you shove them down, they're generally going to show up in your body somehow as some kind of misalignment, some kind of dis-ease, discomfort. Whereas if you just experience it, it's going to move through you and not get stuck in you. So reminding yourself in this moment of experiencing, reminding yourself that you are safe is huge for processing it, okay? So when you're in this step 2, you've already paused, you've come to your pause place, you're going to fully experience it with all of your senses. Again, bonus points if you use Hakelau while you're here, because if you're in that Hakelau state, you're going to be focused on this emotion, and you're going to have enough awareness to be able to feel it with all of your senses, right? All of the senses. You're going to see, where in my body am I experiencing this? Does it have a smell? Does it have a taste? Does it have a name? Does it have a sound? Is it speaking? What size is it? How big is it? How does it, what texture does it have? Just get really curious, get really involved in how specific you want to get versus how vague feels correct. Sometimes it's going to get really, really specific. For me, it's very rarely specific. It's just kind of like this vague, it'll be in a kind of a vague area of my body. No, not that one. That's not a good one. Let's not play with Sharpies. So just really feel it. We're just curious. Take note on this. When you're in this place here, we're just curious. Only on the paper, okay? When we're curious, it removes any room for shame. If you can just stay in that state of curiosity, like closing your eyes. Okay, I am feeling anxiety right now. Clearly, I struggle with anxiety. That's why I keep bringing that one up. I'm feeling anxiety right now. Where in my body is it living? When we're really curious, we're not shaming ourselves. We're just in the experience. Do you see how important this is? How important it is to just experience it. Just let yourself experience it. We're supposed to. That's why we're here. We're here to experience this human experience to the fullest. Thank you. Okay. Go ahead. So step number 3, once we've fully experienced it, we are now going to listen and learn, right? So now that we know how big it is, what shape it is, what color, all those things, now that we've given it all of, now that we've received all of the characteristics of this feeling, you're going to stay in that Hakelau state, stay zoomed out, and you're just going to sit and listen. Listen for whatever message it is that this emotion is carrying to you. Because every single time it will have a message. Now, sometimes it might not make a lick of sense. Consciously, maybe I don't know what I'm supposed to make of that. You don't have to make anything of it. All you need to do is listen. Think about a child, right? Sometimes children say things that don't make any sense at all. Sure. I don't know what you're saying, but all they need is to be heard and validated. Okay, yep, that was a great story. Thank you for sharing. And then they're happy to go along. Versus if I keep ignoring my child, she's just going to keep poking me and poking me and poking me and poking me and poking me until I listen. Same thing with our emotions, y'all. They just need to be heard. They just want to be validated. They are here for a purpose. We just need to listen and learn. Because again, even if it doesn't make any sense to us logically or consciously, our subconscious, our body understands. Our body completely understands. So when we learn, our body receives that learning and applies it however we need to without us having to do any extra work. That's why subconscious work gets to be so simple and so easy, because we don't have to try to make it all make sense. It does not always have to make sense, and it does not need to take more time or effort. All we need to do is be available for it, be available to receive the learnings. Yeah. Make sure that we're good on Facebook. Okay, we're all good. Okay, and then the last step is so simple. Just thank it. Just thank that sweet little emotion that just wanted to spread a little message. Right? Just express that gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this learning. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for providing me with what I needed today. And you release it. You release it back out into the universe so that it can go be cleansed, go out to whoever needs it next. And this is an especially powerful process for those of you who have an undefined or open solar plexus, because you are like the classic empaths, right? So if you haven't, and yeah, right. Now I have a defined solar plexus, but I still can experience it. I experience empathy in other aspects of my chart. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there, because I've heard people say, well, I have a defined solar plexus and I'm totally empathic. Yes, you can still be empathic. It's just that if you have an open solar plexus, you are the classic definition of an empath. Anyways, point is, this is a really, really powerful process for you to discover which emotions are for you and which ones are for you to release. This is a really good process for you to do the releasing aspect of whatever is not for you. And that goes for any of your undefined centers. Yeah, Brie, you have like 5 undefined centers. Use this anytime. Like, this process is seriously perfect for releasing what is not for you in those undefined centers. So good. That's beautiful, sweet girl. Keep going. See what else you can make on there, okay? So that is the pause process. Are there any questions on that pause process? It really is so simple. Right? We pause, we experience, we learn, or we listen and learn, receive the learnings, and then we thank and release. Love that process. Thank you, Brie. It just gets to be so simple. Sometimes we think we need to make things really complex and complicated for it to work. And we really don't. We really don't. It gets to be so simple and easy. Okay, so let's talk about reframing briefly. Oh, let's see. So basically, emotional management. Yeah, it is. It's just a really simple and powerful way to manage your emotions. And it can be a really good way to help others emotionally regulate as well. Like, I'm trying to teach my children to do that as well, right? Like, you're feeling a big feeling. You're feeling angry right now, and that's fine. Like, let's sit with that for a second. Instead of, because like when I was growing up, like in our generations, like, oh, stop, you're crying. Oh, stop. Don't yell. Go to your room if you're going to be angry. No, we don't need to be shamed for feeling these things. We need to be held. We need to be seen. We need to be allowed to feel the things. Like, I'm going to out my dad for a second. I love my dad. He's amazing. We lived with my parents for a couple of years when she was born. And when my oldest, she was like a toddler, right? And so she would cry a lot. She would. And my dad, just doing the best that he could with whatever knowledge and beliefs that he has, right? He would often come up to her whenever my daughter was crying and say, oh, stop, you're crying. Oh, try to make her laugh, try to make her stop crying. And there were so many times that I had to say, Dad, I'm the mom, back off. I'm going to let my daughter cry because she got hurt or she's disappointed or she's angry. Like, it's okay. She's allowed. We are rewriting this narrative. Yes. All right. So reframing. Reframing is also everything. And all of these tools, write these down and use them for yourself. And I'm going to help you with this one in just a second as well. But reframing, super simple. Reframing is just seeing the current situation from a different perspective. And again, that's why that Hakulau is so powerful, because we zoom out and it allows us to see more perspectives. Now, I will say this is like a pretty easy natural gift for those who have an open head or Ajna center. But if you have definition there, you also have the ability to do this. Okay, just putting that out there. LOL, yep, I've had to let my dad know we're not available for certain things too. Yeah, because their generation, they just were raised differently. So they were ingrained with different beliefs. And that's up to them whether or not they are ready or available to shift their own beliefs. That's not up to us. Okay, you still gotta be quiet. Is Ammon still sleeping? Can you go check on him for me? So when we can reframe a situation, it helps us to be able to more efficiently, again, we're all about that efficiency, right? Helps us more efficiently move forward from a circumstance in which maybe you. So when we can reframe a situation, and reframing is honestly why we're able to, like what I talked about at the beginning of the call, this is why we have the ability to shift into a state of peace and joy and calm and fulfillment, even if our external circumstances don't change one bit. Reframing is a huge reason why we're able to do that. Okay. it gets you out of your box, because sometimes, again, we get so zoomed into whatever our situation is that we can't see other options. We can't see other ideas. We can't see other realities that are available to us right now. So when we can reframe our current situation, it allows us to shift our perspective even just a little bit and see, oh, hey, there's an idea. Oh, hey, there's some breathing room, right? Seems like reframing makes life bearable. It absolutely does, because it gets us out of our stories. We don't have to be stuck in the same stories. We don't have to be stuck in the same beliefs forever. We just don't. It gives us options, right? Let's see. Okay, so we are going a little bit over on time, but I am happy. Let's see if one or two people have a situation that they would like some live reframing on. Drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments. And also, if you're watching the replay, let me know as well if you have a circumstance that you would like help reframing, and I can totally do that in the comments as well. So if anyone has something that they would like help reframing, let me know. My husband sometimes hates that I reframe all the time. I love reframing. I think it's so fun, and it just makes life so much easier. And every once in a while, he's like, Megan, can I just whine for a second without you reframing everything? I'm like, yes, I'm sorry. I don't have to be Coach Megan all the time. I used to feel like it was lying to myself to fake it until you make it. Oh, do you know what? That's such a good point. I used to do fake it till you make it all the time, but not in a healthy way. And this is, once again, there are no set hard and fast rules. Fake it till you make it can sometimes be beneficial if it's done in a really aligned and helpful way. And sometimes, because sometimes if you're doing fake it till you make it, you're not reframing, you're avoiding, right? So sometimes if we're faking something, we're avoiding, like, okay, I'm just going to ignore this reality. I'm not going to look at it, and I'm just going to pretend like everything's okay. Versus, okay, this is my entire reality, and this is what I'm choosing to make it mean. Yes, I love all the mind-blowing moments. Bree says, I legit just had to do this with the situation with my 15-year-old, but it took me like a full 24-ish hours to process emotions and such first. Yes. And that's another thing. So talking about the pause process and how short and fast and quick it can be, we also need to be able to give ourselves grace to let it take time. Because especially in America, we live in such a fast pace, like, oh, hurry, we have to hurry and do the things. We have to hurry and heal. We have to hurry and make progress. We have to hurry and succeed. No. If it feels good for you to sit in one emotion for 24 hours or a month, do it. Maybe your body just needs that extra time to learn. Maybe it just needs to move at a more slow-paced way, right? So yes, thank you for bringing that up, Bree, because that's such a good point. Sometimes it gets to take longer, and that's beautiful. We do not ever need to rush through it. So yes, reframing is based, instead of ignoring what the situation actually is, we're zooming out to see more of it in context with more of life, to give us the opportunity to shift our focus just a little bit, or to choose what we're believing about it. Because, okay, we used to live with my parents, right? We lived with my parents for 2 years. 2 years. We were thinking it was going to be a few months, and it ended up being 2 years that we lived with them. It's a good thing my mom is like one of my best friends, because that could have been awful. But in fact, I was just talking to her last night, and we were both saying, we kind of missed that. I kind of miss living with my mom. But anyways, I could have made that mean that we were major failures in life. I could have made that mean that like everything was going to pot. I could have made it mean that we were never going to succeed. But if that was the case, then I never would have had space to even see, oh, I want to become a life coach. Because it was while we were living with them that I thought that. But if I thought that I was failing, I never would have been able to even see that as an option. Right? And if my husband had believed that as well, if I had let him believe that as well, that, well, we're living in my in-laws' basement, so I'm just a deadbeat that can't do anything, he never would have even reapplied for physical therapy school. And now he's a freaking physical therapist. You know, this is like gourmet food you are giving us, no fluff, but in all love. That is the best. Oh, thank you for saying that. I am here for all the gourmet food. Oh, thank you for that comment. That just made my day. So that is the beauty and the importance of reframing. Okay. So again, yeah, this is just like the meat and the bones of mental healing. Okay. Knowing the difference in all these things and just knowing when to apply them, because it can seem like a lot if you're not careful, right? But it's all about just having that awareness of what to apply and when. Okay. So if you guys think of something later on that you would like some help reframing with, let me know. I'll be available in the group. I'll be available via email and all that jazz. And we can also maybe even tomorrow start off with some reframing as well if something comes up. So with all of that, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the call, but I have mentioned this in the group and I mentioned it on social media. I'm running this 3-day event to celebrate the third round of my mastermind that's starting next Tuesday because Monday is Labor Day. So let's see. Bree says, how I initially felt. She hates me and thinks I'm an asshole. The reframe. Wow, she feels so safe to share how she really feels and what she's thinking. Yes, 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 yes. Oh my gosh. That's beautiful, Bree. I love that. I'm so glad that you were able to come around to that. And that's so, and that's
it was so emotional, like to get there finally. And I was like, oh, good. Like, okay, I've created a safe space so she can say this stuff. It still didn't make it like the stuff feel better, but it was like, okay, I see what's happened. I see what we've done anyways. And like, let that be her stuff that she's going through. Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's huge. How old is she?
She just turned 15.
Okay.
So like all of a sudden this transition from 14 to 15, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, all the hormones, all the teenager stuff. Yes. And I've heard that too, because, you know, you hear the classic, like, well, my kid is so good in school all day and then she comes home and is a terror for me. But again, it's because you create the safe space for them to explore and experience all those emotions. Even though it's freaking hard as a parent to have to experience all that fallout, it's a good thing. So yes, that's so good, Brie. I'm so glad that you came to that. Oof, sending you all the teenager vibes. I'm terrified for that. Oh, thank heavens for reframing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do people rag on people that like live in their parents' basement? Like they're just in a certain stage of their life. Like, is there supposed to be, not saying is there supposed to be an age group that you're supposed to be like that's I'm not, you know, but I just want to know, like, but I love what you just said, especially about the reframe about for you and your husband and not feeling like a failure. But like that's what people go to, like when they want to be shady about, I'm not gonna date this person because they live here, or I'm not going to, or whatever, or at family reunions, like you still live in, like, why do people do, like, I mean, I probably know the answer, like they're minimizing someone else to make them feel, but like why? It's just horrible. I just saw what she said. yeah. It's so horrible. Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and it's probably because there was one time when one person, because you know, every once in a while, maybe it's someone who has depression and they don't have a job. That, you know, we just never see the full picture. So some people will see like, oh, well, they don't even have a job. They're just living in their parents' basement and playing video games all day. They're not doing anything with their life. Little do they know they've got like major depressive issues and literally cannot function because they're not getting the help that they need, right? Or kids know they're welcome here whenever they need, no matter what. Yep, that's my parents. Like, honestly, my parents, they both retired like a little over a year ago, and they still have never been fully empty nesters. Like my little brother is living with them right now. Because I mean, he's gonna be like, he's very financially well off. He's got a good job. He wants to be traveling the world, and he's gonna be kind of nomadic a little bit, and that's just home base, you know. So people could think, oh, that's too bad. He just got divorced and he's living in his parents' basement. He's not doing great. No, actually, he's thriving. He's doing really well. It's, again, all about that reframe, all about the perspective. That's why we zoom out and try to, and I even do that sometimes when driving. My husband gets not actual road rage, but like he gets so upset when people do dumb things while driving. And so I'm always like, well, maybe they're not from around here and they're confused and they don't know what's going on. They're just doing their best. That's beautiful to have that relationship with your parents. Yeah, honestly, I have the best parents. They're amazing. And it is like having that safety to know that you can always return home. So good. Brie, I'm with Austin on the driving. It's funny when I'm driving, when I'm the one driving, I actually get that way too. But when I'm the passenger, for some reason, I'm like, it's fine. Everything's fine. They're just doing their best. I don't know why there's a difference. Oh my word. Oh, that's so funny. Let's see. Yeah, are there, so I do want to talk about this, but are there any other questions on anything we've covered today? Or if anything pops
reframing needs to like be in the driving manual.
that should be part of
you need to have while you're in traffic, for real.
Such a good idea. Someone should create like an audiobook. Here, listen to this while you're driving. Here are all the reasons why everything is okay.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. Well, if any other questions come up, even if I'm in the middle of talking about this, feel free to interrupt because I get squirrel brain too, so I get it. So, as I have mentioned before, I decided to run this 3-day event to celebrate this next round of the mastermind that I'm starting. It starts next Tuesday. And seriously, every time I run it, it gets a little bit better. Like it just gets, oh my word. The transformations and the healing that has happened in here, I could never plan for. I could never plan for it. Like, oh my word. Sheena went through the first round and I had no idea what I was doing, to be honest, to be totally honest with you. And the transformations that I just witnessed unfold before me in her life. This was a divinely inspired container, is what I'm trying to say. So just to put the clarification out there, because it's not for everyone. It's absolutely not for everyone. It's not for the kind of person that's just wanting to just pay a coach, which if you're here, I don't really think this is you anyways, but if you're just looking for someone to pay and put on the back burner, like I know that there are people who do that, you know, they're like, oh, this is a problem I have. I just want to pay someone to fix it for me. That's not how this works. You don't just pay me and then put all this on the back burner and think that I'm going to fix all your problems for you. It's not how that works. Okay. This is also not for you if you think you already know everything you need to know about growth and healing and you don't need anyone's help for it. If that's you, first of all, I don't think you would have made it this far into this lesson today anyways. And also, I can't help you if you're in that space. I'm not gonna lie. None of you would know this person, so I feel safe to say this, but that I once had a client who pretty much had this attitude and I literally could not help them. Could not do a dang thing because they were just very much in this mindset. So if that's kind of where you're at, if you already think you know everything, I can't help you. Also, if you're not ready to consistently, like regularly move through those often uncomfortable steps and experiences of healing and expansion to get out of that burnout mode, out of that stress mode, out of that mom guilt mode, then don't join this container. It's not right for you yet because there's lots of discomfort, so much discomfort that happens, but it's productive. It's profound kind of discomfort. Okay. And also, if you are determined to maintain the belief that you're too broken to deserve the life that you desire, then I can't help you. Now, if you have this belief, if you have ever or still find yourself falling back into the belief that you're too broken to ever have the life that you want, but you don't want to believe that anymore, I can absolutely help you. Bye, Bree. Have so much fun at yoga. Okay, sounds good. I'm holding space for you still. Love you. And that's an important distinction that I want to make because sometimes people think, well, I'm just too broken and no one can help me. That's just a belief. And there's two ways that can go. You can either be super determined to hold on to that belief tightly and not want to ever let go because that's your comfort zone. I can't help you if you don't want to let go of it. But if you have that belief, but you want to let go of it, you can, and I can help you do that. And I can help you see how that can be possible for you. Okay. So if instead you're ready to connect with your body so that you can actually decode the messages that it's sending you from your subconscious mind, right? Because we know that our subconscious mind stores all those thoughts, all those memories, all those beliefs in our physical body, and our body is always constantly sending us messages, which again we'll go over on Wednesday. And you want to be able to decode those messages and actually connect with your body and feel like you are like a whole dynamic being, then you might want to consider this mastermind. Also, if you're ready to remember your inherent worth, and it's a remembering, not a No, like it's not something that you have to learn for the first time. This is something that we were born with. We were born knowing that we were inherently worthy. This is a good container for you to be reminded of that, led back into the remembrance of that worth that is inherent. And if you're also ready to accept and receive support and guidance, then this is for you. Because again, if you're not willing to receive, because sometimes receiving, I know that's something that I've been working on this year, is receiving. That has been deeply uncomfortable for me. Receiving support, receiving guidance, receiving help, even if it's abundantly available to you. If you have a hard time receiving, but you want to be better at receiving, this is a good space for you. And also, if you're ready to do all the reframing, all the internal mental work, all that shifting of that internal narrative, right? Deciding what you want to believe instead, so that you can no longer be just constantly in that burnout mode, constantly in people pleasing, constantly in stress and anxiety. It's available for you, okay? And then again, if you're ready to just totally be immersed in hugely transformational growth, specifically through the process of your own uniquely curated process, because again, I don't believe in one size fits all. My process, the integration by design method, the process within that is designed to help you create your own process, if that makes sense. So I have a process, but it's not set steps for you to follow and say, okay, just follow steps 1 through 50 and then you'll have this result. No, the way that it works is I have this 5-step process that you go through at your own pace, and you get within those 5 steps, you discover and unfold your own process so that it's aligned with your energy and works in a way that works for you. It's not going to be in a way that works for me. It's not going to be my process that I'm copying and pasting onto you. And that is why you get to guarantee your own success. That's why you get to guarantee for yourself that you're going to shift out of all of those things that you no longer want to identify with and start to experience the life that you really want, that life that just feels good and just is juicy and free and peaceful and satisfying, right? All of those good things. You get to be the one that's in charge of that. I'm not in charge of that for you. I'm just showing you how you get to guarantee it for yourself. Okay. And these are just, just some client love here. If you want to read through them, you can. I'm not going to stay on them for too long, but just, I have had some of the very best clients in the world. I tend to attract the most amazing people into my life. So just, I'm grateful for everyone who has taken the time to work with me and for their sweet, sweet words. So just a couple of here's some of the nitty gritty of what's inside the container if you decide to join. So again, it starts next Tuesday. It's 12 weeks long. You're going to get high level lessons on your personal human design. So it's within this mastermind, it's like you're going to be getting a human design reading on all levels. It's a big human design reading that you're getting, and it's lessons that you get to return back to as often as you would like. You're also going to get lessons on somatic healing patterns. So that physical movement, right? And lots more. I'm constantly going to be adding more to it. It's getting a little bit more added to it every time. And this time I'm planning on adding a lot more. You're also going to get live coaching calls every other week. You'll also be getting daily coaching and community. So you'll have live calls like this on Zoom every other week. And in between those 2 calls, calls every 2 weeks, you also have daily coaching and community on a group chat. So I'll be checking in daily, Monday through Friday, right? To help you process and move through your process, to help support you in between the live calls, which is where we'll do really meaty coaching, really good, big shifts happen there. And then you get to continuously be living in breakthrough, living in healing, living in expansion daily, and receiving support from your fellow mastermind clients as well. You also, this is new, I'm taking every single healing resource that I have ever created and putting it into this mastermind. I know Courtney's geeking out. I know it's huge. I have created so much. And sometimes I've been I've got all these good things, but none of them really fit anywhere. Oh no, they fit here because again, part of the process of your healing is you becoming your own authority and recognizing your own authority. And then you get to know, because I'm not going to tell you oh, go use this to help you heal this. I might give some suggestions, but you are the one that's going to know. You get to go to that library and look through it, and your inner authority is going to tell you this is what you need right now. I can't tell you your body will tell you. So you're going to have this huge library to access so that whatever it is that you need, it's going to be there for you. Whatever it is that you need to heal in that moment, whatever, feeling it is, whatever emotion it is that you need to process in that moment, you're going to have something to guide you through it, because you're your own authority, and this gets to help you with that. And then at the end, this is also new. I'm super excited about this. At the end of the 12 weeks, we're going to do a VIP celebration call to just celebrate all of the healing that has gone on in the 12 weeks, all of the breakthroughs that have happened, and just tie up any loose ends that maybe have come up, and just celebrate, just like freaking celebrate. Because that is something that I have learned in the last year or two, is just there's not enough celebration that happens, right? We tend to like, oh, I had this breakthrough, that's awesome, cool, all right, move on. No, sit in it. Sit in how freaking good it feels to have had that breakthrough, to have released that old belief that is no longer serving you. Sit in that. How good does it feel? So we're going to have an entire call just for that, just for celebration. So, and then this, oh my gosh, I was going to do like a whole reveal, but I'm so excited about this. This is something that is not available literally anywhere else for me. Like, I'm not offering this anywhere else right now. So when you sign up by next Monday or Tuesday, right? We start on Tuesday. So when you join this container, you are going to get a private Gene Keys reading. I am so excited about this. So for those who are not familiar, Gene Keys, it's kind of like, okay, so in human design, you have the gates. Gene Keys is kind of like a deep dive on the gates. And some people will say that's not accurate. That's how it works for me. And I have been diving into the Gene Keys much more in the last few months. And again, yeah, Sheena says this has changed my life. Me and Sheena have been geeking out on this hard the last few months. Courtney says going out with a bang for the last quarter of 2022. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about this. So our Gene Keys, again, it's just like, so there are 64 Gene Keys, just like there are 64 gates in human design. And Gene Keys, like there are pages and pages on just one gate, essentially. And there's this sequence that you go through. So you have, this image right here, this is your Gene Key. So we've got this sequence right here that starts here, goes there, right there, right there. That's our activation sequence. And then we start here, there, and that, and up to there. And that is our Venus sequence. And then all of these are the Pearl sequence. And those all mean so many things for you and your healing, and so much validation. And it gets to show us more clearly what your shadows are, and how you're never wrong for being in your shadow, and how your shadow actually facilitates the shifting into your gift. So shadow work is generally like I know, mind blow. I know, it's so good. So when we're in our shadows, it's just, again, it's kind of like what we were talking about with dissociation. Being in our shadows we're not wrong for being in our shadows. It's just teaching us something. It's just indicating where we are with our energy, and we get to decide whether we want to stay there or if we want to shift further into something that feels more pleasant. Yeah. So anyways, I'm just super excited to offer this reading to anyone who joins this round of the Mastermind. It's going to be so freaking good. Yeah, Sheena is like, yes, so good. Oh, okay, so what would it be worth to you? And again, if you're on the replay as well, because I'm like just thinking there's some certain people on my mind who I know who are going to be watching this replay, who I really want to think about all of this as well. So what would it be worth to you if you knew exactly how to manage your own brand of stress and burnout and anxiety and people pleasing and all of that, and mom guilt, right? If you knew, because the way that you experience stress and burnout is going to be different than the next person, and how they experience it. And how you manage that is also going to be different than the next person, which is why sometimes stress management techniques don't work for everyone, right? So what would it be worth to you if you knew without a shadow of a doubt what you could do to manage that for yourself, and know that you can get yourself out of stress and into peace at the drop of a hat? Right? What would it be worth to you if you could live in full confidence of your own ability to handle anything that life throws your way? Your own ability. You don't need to rely on external sources. You don't need to rely on trying to control certain circumstances in order to feel peace and joy and fulfillment. What if you knew that you were the only person in charge of that in the most healthy, high level way? right? And again, talking about that library, what would it be worth to you if you had instant access to all the energetic resources that you could ever need, knowing that you don't necessarily need to use all of them, and that you will know exactly which ones you need in which moment, knowing that you have everything that you need, right? What would it be worth to you to know that you could have a living, breathing coach to rely on, as well as a really supportive, sacred group of women who are also holding space for you to be seen, to be heard, to be validated as you move through that uncomfortable process? It does not need to be as lonely as it has previously seemed, because healing can sometimes feel really lonely because it is so unique. It is so individualized. So instead of it feeling lonely, knowing that you've got the support of those around you, that even though we're all going through our own individual process, we know what it's like to go through our own individual process together, right? Having that community, having that support is so powerful. And again, what would it be worth to you if you could experience your healing and recovery process while simultaneously enjoying your desires, like manifesting that dream life, manifesting that dream job? You don't have to be fully recovered before you start enjoying life. You can enjoy it now. So think about that. Sit on that. And just, I want you to, you don't have to share this with me or anything, but I want you to answer it to yourself. What would that be worth to you? Okay. And I'm not someone who likes to hide pricing or anything, so I'm going to share that with you guys right now so that you don't have to. Anyways, it's not 20K, which I could totally charge. It's not even going to be 10K, which is about, I kind of calculated it out. That's like the estimated value of all the things that I have in here. It's not even 10K, y'all. It's only $3,500 for this 12-week experience. That's fine. And yes, I do have payment plans because people always ask. So you can pay it in 3 months, you can pay it in 6 months. If you need more flexibility, we can always discuss that as well. Y'all, for all of those things, is it worth $3,500 to you? Is that something you're available for? Those are the questions I want you to ask yourself. Okay, now I am also a major, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Advocate. I'm a major advocate for making decisions that are aligned, right? I mean, that's what human design is all about, is knowing how to make aligned decisions. So most people, the majority of people have an emotional authority, which is why I didn't want to wait till the last day to bring this up, because I want you to have time to get clarity. So if you have an emotional authority, take some time to write out your emotional wave. And if you want help talking through it, I am more than happy to help you talk through it. You can talk to other people in this group if you want to. Sheena has gone through it. She has said that she's happy to talk to people, answer questions as well, since she has gone through the mastermind before. Sheena, I probably should have made sure, is that still okay with you? Honestly, having done this program, $3,500 is an absolute steal. Thank you, Sheena. I appreciate you saying that. And yes, so yeah, she says yes. If anyone has any questions about the mastermind, but you're a little too shy to come to me first. I get it. You shouldn't be, but I get it. It's fine. You can always go to Sheena as well. She's happy to talk to you about it. Ride your emotional wave, get all the information you need to make a very aligned and supported decision. If you have a sacral authority, you're probably going to know pretty quickly. Get that green light, get that red light. If you have a yellow light, explore that a little bit. Zoom out, see why you're getting the yellow light, right? So just, and yeah, this is just the last slide, partially because I think this little symbol there is so pretty. It's so golden shiny. Yeah, I am just super excited to celebrate this mastermind. And even if it's not right for you, I'm always going to show up and always show up with all the value that I can to help you get the transformation that you need, in the timing that you need, and in the capacity that you need. Whatever is aligned and correct for you, I'm always going to be here. Okay, I'm holding the space for the mastermind for you right now. So start exploring if that's correct for you. And either way, it's going to be so good. So, okay, we have gone like an hour and a half, which is about half an hour longer than I planned on, but I am so glad that you guys stuck with me. And tomorrow we will be going over spiritual healing. So spiritual or energetic healing. That's because we are vibing. We are so vibing. Oh, I'm digging this so much. I love you guys. So freaking good. Are there any questions before we close out for the day? Or are we just excited to continue on tomorrow? I know tomorrow was like the one that blew so many minds last year with all the planetary activations in human design. Oh man, I'm so excited. Yay, so excited. Okay. Also something that I just felt inspired to ask as well, not ask, but just bring up as well. If any of you are watching and you know someone who is kind of looking for something like this, you know, you have a friend who's been stressed out of her mind or is totally burnt out or, and, you know, is kind of seeking for help with that, send her this, right? Send them the link. And I will, when I send out this replay, I'll send out a link to explore more about the mastermind. You could forward that email on as well. So just share this with anyone that you think would benefit, even just from this free replay. So, okay, well, I am going to go ahead and close this out. I'll get the replay available ASAP. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sticking with me and all the technical difficulties we had. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow.